welcome to The Daily Show.
Thanks for having me.
What a journey. Yeah, it is crazy because what a journey your life has been.
Yeah.
You know, going from being an NFL wide receiver to releasing a children's book and a short film that is nominated for an Oscar. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Let's talk about the story and how it came to be, because I remember when you began this campaign. You know, you've always been someone who is positive online, which is a rare thing on Twitter especially. And I remember when you started this project, you said, hey guys, I want to make a film about positivity, you know, when it comes to dads and their daughters and their hair and loving that hair, natural hair. Why was that so important for you? How did that even begin to be a seed in your mind?
Yeah, you know, I was just coming across a lot of these viral videos, and it just felt like a really great opportunity, like you said, to shine a spotlight on black fathers who so often get this negative portrayal in mainstream media, when studies have actually shown that they're among the most involved groups in their kids' lives. So that was one. And then also, you know, at the time in 2017, in the 100-year plus history of film, only 3 animated movies had featured black protagonists. It was Bebe's Kids, Princess and the Frog, and Home from DreamWorks. And so it also felt like a great opportunity to showcase a black family.
Right.
And to also try to normalize our hair. You know, as you know, there's so many stories every week. There's a new story of a young kid who's not able to graduate because they have locks like mine. That
is a big thing,
yeah, so, you know, just wanted to normalize it and just shine a spotlight on these young kids that have pride in how they look.
That has become one of the stories that we've been following recently. We've been seeing it more and more in the news, where a kid in school has been told, oh, they won't take your class picture. You can't be in the class picture because of your hair. That hairstyle is not appropriate. You know, dreadlocks are inappropriate for the office, or cornrows or braids. These are all inappropriate for the office in school.
Yeah.
It was a big part of my life as well. Did you feel that when you were transitioning? Because when you're in sports, you know, you can have whatever hair you want. People are like, yeah, you're a rock star, you can do what you... But when you move into like a more professional world, was there ever a moment where you felt like people looked at your hair and went like, oh man, we should tame that?
No, I mean, definitely, you know, you get the microaggressions, things like that. You know, people, even when, you know, I went to certain schools, you know, it would be the same thing, but you know, luckily when you're in the creative arts, it's not so bad. But, you know, I have a lot of coworkers and friends who work in more corporate environments, and they can't wear their hair a certain way, and it's just crazy.
It is sad, but it is changing.
It is.
You know, for instance, we've seen in California, they've now passed a law that it protects people who have natural hair. You can't be discriminated against. You know, if you go to work, that's your hair. That is, it's really great for everybody. For everybody, really. And this story is really beautiful. It is a short film. About a dad and this cute little girl, and as we saw in the little clip that we played, she needs to get her hair done, and we don't understand why it's so important, but she needs to get her hair done, and he is terrified of doing her hair. Why did you want to make this movie? And what's more interesting to me is, why did you choose to make it the way you did, asking people to help you make the movie?
Well, you know, for crowdfunding, it's a really good way as a filmmaker to kind of build an audience before you go to market. With this story, I felt really confident because I already kind of had this test data with the viral videos. Like, clearly people already were into it. And yeah, you know, it was just something that I had a really good feeling that would connect the audiences, and it just took off like crazy. You know, our goal initially for the Kickstarter was $75,000. We ended up raising almost $300,000 in 30 days, which is wild. And you know, while the story is obviously very unapologetically black, it's also very universal because it just speaks to, you know, I think with kids, sometimes they ask you to do stuff that you don't know how to do, and if you love them, you're going to figure it out and you're going to step up, and that's really what the story represents.
Yeah, it really was a moment of vulnerability, even in a funny way, where a dad is going, I don't know this world of girls, but I'm going to step into it as a dad.
Exactly.
And it's really been spurred on by what happened with Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
You know, we saw videos coming out of how much Kobe loved his daughters, how proud he was to be what he called a girl dad. You know, and how so many people have a negative connotation towards that. Kobe also shouted you out for this nomination because you are only, I think, the second athletes or former athletes to ever be nominated for an Oscar in the same category. Do you think...
So crazy.
Do you think looking at somebody like Kobe as a dad, looking at conversations like this, do you think that's something we need to encourage more, is more dads to see this as normal?
Exactly. You know, that's the thing, you know, we really wanted to represent that kind of modern day family. You know, as you guys know, rent is expensive everywhere, and oftentimes now both parents have to work. And so if mom has to go out of town or she has to go to work early, if you're a father, what are you going to do? You're going to step up and you're going to get your kids together too. And it shouldn't be an exception. It's normal, and we want to just try to help normalize that.
It's also cool, you know, play with the kids' hair, playing with the hair. Like we've grown up in a world where for so long it was like, oh, guys don't do. I'm a man, I don't do the hair. And it's like, no, you're a man. You can do the hair. You can have fun doing the hair. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Really wonderful. I hope you win that Oscar. I hope you win that Oscar. Hair Love, the book, is available now, and you can watch the short film on Sony Animation's YouTube channel as well as in select theaters with Jumanji: The Next Level. Matthew H. here, everybody.